I just want to be clear that you should not be the intimacy coordinator. You should definitely hire intimacy coordinators, which we did have.
Well,
thank
you
goodness.
were teaching Justin how to pull you in.
Where have you
love
seen
that.
this?
What if everything you believed about the upcoming film It Ends With Us was overshadowed by a whirlwind of controversy involving none other than Blake Lively herself? In this latest Hollywood drama, leaked footage and first-hand accounts paint a picture of fierce behind-the-scenes battles, alleged power moves, and whispers of manipulation. At the center of it all stands Blake Lively, whose star power and rumored quest for creative control have sparked a storm of speculation among fans and industry insiders. Is this simply the cost of doing business in Hollywood, or does Blake Lively's influence run deeper than anyone could have imagined? In the next few minutes, we'll dive headfirst into the mounting tension, the big financial stakes, and the shocking allegations that have left everyone asking, is Blake Lively's ambition pushing this production to new heights or tearing it apart from within? It all began on what was supposed to be a celebratory day at Book Bonanza. Blake Lively turned up, wearing her star power like a shining badge, ready to screen a version of It Ends With Us that, according to her, was still in the works. Walls might show tape residue, the score might be rough, but the fans in attendance would get something truly exclusive, or so she promised. Many believe this was a chance for fans to see an exciting sneak peek, a personal, candid moment with the actress taking the reins. Yet, for those keeping a closer eye on the project, something felt off. Why was the film being shown if the music and final editing were incomplete? Was it all just a teaser? Or was Blake, as some speculated, staking a claim to the final product in the most public way possible? One day later, fans found themselves whispering about an entirely different possibility. This unfinished aspect might have been more than just an innocent reveal. It might have been part of a strategy. Because while the crowd applauded her candor, an entirely different storyline was unfolding backstage that would raise eyebrows and questions about who was really calling the shots. But that wasn't all. Shortly after Blake Lively returned from that big day at Book Bonanza, everything changed, particularly for the film's original composer. This was someone with a glowing track record, rumored to have already completed a beautiful orchestral score for It Ends With Us. Their work was practically ready to roll out, providing the emotional backbone for the story's biggest scenes. Then, with shocking suddenness, that composer got the boot. The official claim: the music wasn't finished. Another reason thrown around was that they needed a fresh direction, or that the final result didn't align with the star's vision. The truth, according to rumblings inside the studio, is that Lively made the call on her own, despite not having the official authority to do so. Replacing a composer so late in production is no small feat. It's expensive, time-consuming, and frankly chaotic. You don't just throw out an entire score to hire another big name on the fly, unless something major is at stake. Many who followed the story wondered if this was really about the music, or was it about power? Everything about the switch sparked speculation. Some claim Blake wanted a more pop-infused soundtrack, complete with recognized tracks from star artists to appeal to mainstream audiences. Others, including insiders who allegedly saw earlier test footage, claim her vision was less about quality and more about overshadowing any creative element she didn't personally control. But those rumors, as wild as they were, only scratched the surface. The next blow came from newly leaked footage and first-hand accounts of that Book Bonanza screening. In these glimpses, fans saw an actress who wasn't just promoting her film, she was relishing a central spotlight, effectively positioning herself as the main creative force behind It Ends With Us. Several cast and crew members, by their own statements, felt overshadowed. Allegedly, Lively had convinced them that her cut of the film was the only viable version. Some who'd never even seen the director's original cut walked away from the screening fully in favor of Blake's approach. And why wouldn't they? According to rumors, her enthusiasm was infectious, and for a moment, it seemed like she was single-handedly elevating the entire project. Behind that facade, however, tension simmered. The production studio, already sinking funds into late-stage rewrites, new composers, and rumored reshoots, had little choice but to go along with the star's demands. She'd already won over the fans in that small but mighty Book Bonanza crowd. Going against that wave of support would have stirred up a new level of controversy. What started as a star simply stepping up to support a beloved project began looking more like a takeover. But the strangest revelations were yet to come. Just when people believed this was only a case of creative differences, more explosive accusations surfaced. Several insiders claimed Lively employed a hostile work environment complaint to push out creative voices she disliked. If she could prove the original director and certain key players were out of line, she'd have more reason to swoop in and save the film. It didn't stop there. Tucked into the swirl of rumors were stories hinting at potential claims of sexual harassment on set. Some watchers speculated that these claims, whether valid or not, conveniently bolstered Blake's argument for removing specific individuals or drastically changing the working dynamic. Naturally, such topics are delicate. In any professional setting, real harassment or intimidation is serious business. Yeah, skeptics wondered about the timing of these allegations. Did they genuinely reflect misconduct? Or were they used strategically to discredit the creative people behind the original vision, thus handing complete authority to the star? Whispers in industry corridors grew louder. Maybe Lively's ultimate aim was more personal, perhaps even more lucrative than anyone suspected. Amid these swirling rumors, one moment in particular left the audience flabbergasted. At the end of the Book Bonanza screening, an emotional Blake Lively told the crowd something unexpected. "I suffer from toxic masculinity." Taken at face value, the comment seemed almost playful, a strange joke about never crying or feeling too hardened. Yet it also felt tone-deaf. Here was a movie about domestic violence, shining a spotlight on the very real challenges people, especially women, face in abusive relationships. Declaring herself a carrier of toxic masculinity, in that context threw many for a loop. On one hand, it seemed like she was trying to appear self-aware, shining a quirky light on her tough exterior. On the other, it fed a growing narrative. If she genuinely identified with traits like power, aggression, or the impulse to dominate, then the allegations of her controlling the production or fabricating harassment claims might align all too neatly. Whether you see it as an ill-considered joke or evidence of something deeper, that brief phrase became symbolic. People started questioning every decision she'd made thus far, from composer firings to rumored creative sabotage. Suddenly, the entire fiasco felt more personal, more intense, and potentially more about ego. Still, the biggest question loomed. If all of this was a power play, to what end? Follow the money, as they say. The combined production budget, marketing budget, and expected box office returns for It Ends With Us were rumored to be massive, with some speculating potential profits in the hundreds of millions, possibly hitting $350 million or more in global receipts. For an actress looking to boost her status not just as a performer, but as a creative force or even a pseudo-producer, that's an enormous incentive. Industry chatter pointed to a scenario where Lively might have negotiated for a piece of the profits if her version took center stage. Some whispered that she believed she was owed a massive payout beyond her reported $3 million salary. In a civil lawsuit, particularly around creative control or allegations of hostile work environment, you can see how such claims might lead to a settlement. Maybe it's not so much about punishing individuals as it is a negotiation tactic. Pay me or risk more public scandal. Skeptics argue that if she'd truly been a victim, she'd have gone for criminal channels or official condemnation. But a civil suit? That's money territory. Combine that with forced rewrites, last-minute firings, and the shock factor of certain statements, and you begin to see a bigger puzzle forming. A puzzle that might revolve around a substantial payday. None of this has happened in a vacuum. Studio executives, agents, and fellow performers have all been keeping tabs on the drama. When top-tier talent starts rewriting the rules, it stirs a hornet's nest of opinions within Hollywood. Some fear that a star-driven takeover sets a dangerous precedent for future productions. Directors, composers, and creative teams wonder, if a big name can dismantle a film's original vision on a whim, then what's the point of hiring experts at all? It's a question that could shift how contracts are negotiated, how sets are organized, and how far an actor's influence can reach. Others see it as a cautionary tale. Keep your focus on what you do best, whether that's acting, composing, or directing. Overstepping your bounds may not only spark legal trouble, but also tarnish your reputation among fans and colleagues alike. Even among Blake Lively's once ardent supporters, there's a ripple of doubt. While some rally to her defense, citing possible injustices she faced, others argue that the evidence and her own actions are too contradictory to ignore. You might wonder, why do I need to care about behind-the-scenes bickering? But controversies like this don't just affect those in Hollywood. They reshape our understanding of what goes into the content we consume. Many fans feel betrayed, if they supported the film without realizing they were witnessing one star's alleged takeover at the expense of the creative team. Plus, these behind-the-scenes battles can distort the final on-screen product. If the film was compromised or re-edited under questionable conditions, it could affect everything from the tone of the story to the emotional resonance of each scene. Viewers expecting an honest adaptation of Colleen Hoover's novel might wind up with something that's more of a vanity piece than a faithful retelling. Then there's the bigger conversation. The delicate balance between giving actors a voice and ensuring the collaborative process remains healthy. Watching this play out might provoke discussions about how we want the entertainment industry to operate and the ethical boundaries that should be set to protect both creativity and integrity. When all is said and done, the saga of It Ends With Us might not just be about a single film adaptation. It's a window into how power, ego, and money can collide in any high-stakes creative project. From that hush-hush premiere at Book Bonanza, to the abrupt decision to dump an entire musical score, to the swirling gossip of alleged manipulations and lawsuits, every piece of this puzzle suggests there's more than meets the eye. Whether you see Blake Lively as a cunning mastermind who seized control, an actress who genuinely believed in her own vision, or someone caught in a web of misunderstandings, one thing is certain. Viewers have been left with questions that can't be ignored. Was the film improved by her interventions, or did she simply overshadow a director's original plan? Did she push boundaries too far to secure a bigger slice of the profits? Or is that speculation unfair? In the end, the power moves and rumors might overshadow the film itself. Each new piece of leaked footage, each contradictory statement, casts a fresh spotlight on what truly happened. It's a reminder that Hollywood is as much about politics and maneuvering as it is about creativity. So next time you watch It Ends With Us, pause and think. Beyond the sweeping romance or the dramatic confrontation, there's an entirely different narrative playing out. A story of ambition, hidden agendas, and the lengths some people might go to in order to claim the limelight.